Welcome everyone to imaginativevisions.com. This is the list. And this is also going to be on the Gaming Central playlist. And today, to kick off my list playlist, I want to count down my top 20 favorite video games of all time. Now, before we get to the list, just some ground rules because I know there's going to be people in here who's like, why did this not make the list? This is not a list based on metrics, review scores, what's the best out of the series. This is my personal favorite top 20s, the games that get the most replayability. Any of these games on this list, I can just pick up and play and have a blast like it was the first time I played it. I love these 20 games, and I also have 5 honorable mentions because this was a very, very tough list to do. So, without further ado, friends, just gonna say this before we begin one more time. Not every game on this list is considered the best of the franchise. There are better games out there, obviously, that do these games better. Some of these games better. And also, I also have to say, some of these games are revolutionary and did change the game. So keep in mind also, my genre of choices switch from different genre. I do not really play that much first person shooters or action games of third person shooter action games like that. So you might be disappointed if you're expecting to see a Halo or a Gears of War on here. Just giving you a heads up. But enough with the rambling. Let's get to this is the list. Let's go to number 20. Number 20, Snatcher Sega CD. There are games that stay with you because of their mechanics, and there's games like Snatcher that stay with you because you never quite forget the world they put you inside. Written and designed by Hideo Kojima, Snatcher is a cyberpunk graphic adventure centered on Gillian Seed, a junker investigator hunting artificial humanoids known as Snatchers that murder humans and assume their identities. And most of the game is driven through a menu based interface where you look around environments, investigate evidence, question characters, and travel between locations and slowly piece together the mystery. There are also shooting sequences that occasionally break up the investigation, particularly when Gillian finds himself confronting something much more dangerous than another clue. And what makes the gameplay work is that Snatcher asks you to pay attention. This is not a game where you can ignore conversations and expect objective markers to point towards the solution. Sometimes you have to investigate the same location several times, ask additional questions, notice something in a conversation, and return information you previously encountered. That can occasionally make progression feel old fashioned, but it also creates the sensation of conducting an actual investigation. You're not simply watching Gillian solve the case, you're participating in the process of uncovering Neo Kobe piece by piece. And the reason why I think you should play Snatcher in 2026 is because there's still not many games quite like this. It's a combination of cyberpunk sci fi fiction, the noir detective fiction, horror, humor, and especially anime inspired presentation. It has full blown voice acting for the Sega CD and cinematic storytelling that only Hideo Kojima could think of back in the Sega CD era. And you can also see many of the storytelling interests of Kojima, such as Blade Runner, Terminator, just to think of a few off the top of the head. But Snatcher has its own identity and deserves to be appreciated separately from everything that followed. It's one of my favorite games of all time because of the experience. I remember playing this at a friend's house for Sega CD and just constantly just kept thinking about just the music, the story, the presentation. And truly for me, this is one of the best Sega CD games ever made, hands down. So if you enjoy mysteries, visual novels, sci-fi fiction, or games that reward patience and observation, this one is definitely something you should check out, and it's definitely one of the reasons I put this number 20 on my favorite video games of all time list. Now, let's head to number 19. Number 19, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Nintendo DS. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney somehow took courtroom proceedings and transformed them into some of the most exciting battles in gaming without requiring anyone to throw a punch. The game alternates between investigations and courtroom trials. And during investigations, Phoenix searches locations, speaks with witnesses, and collects evidence. And once the case reaches court, you cross examine testimonies, you press witnesses for information, and present evidence when you discover a contradiction. And the Nintendo DS version contains 5 cases, with the fifth, Rise from the Ashes, added for the version after the original Game Boy Advance releases in Japan. And the courtroom gameplay is where Ace Attorney becomes addictive. A witness will tell a story that initially seems airtight, but when you begin comparing every sentence against the evidence in the courtroom, eventually you notice one tiny detail that cannot possibly be true. So you start presenting the correct evidence, and Phoenix slams his hands on the desk, and the music changes, and suddenly the entire case begins falling apart. And the game turns reading comprehension and logical deduction into the equivalent of landing a finishing move. It's also exactly how to escalate a trial so that something seamlessly insignificant at the beginning can become really important several hours later. And I have all the Phoenix Wright games. This is a franchise, a visual novel that I feel like it's one of the best. And yeah, as time goes on, were there better games than the first one? Of course, because there was new mechanics introduced. But the first one always holds a place in my heart because I absolutely hate that prosecutor, Karma. Oh my God, was this guy such a prick? And what really makes Ace Attorney special though is not just the great gameplay, the animation, the story. It's the cast. Phoenix Wright, Maya Fey, Mia Fey, Miles Edgeworth, Detective Gumshoe, and all these other bizarre, weird personalities that, if given in a real life courtroom, you'll be scratching your head going, "What the hell?" And I honestly think that you should play it because solving a great mystery is satisfying by proving that solution in the courtroom is just so sweet. Hands down, one of my favorite visual novels of all time, one of my favorite point and clicks. Whatever genre you want to put this in terms of text based games, Phoenix Wright is one of my favorites. Let's go to number 8. Number 18, Shadow of the Colossus. This is one of those games that immediately felt different from almost everything that I have ever played. You take control of Wander, a young man who enters a forbidden land with the body of a girl named Mono, and asks a mysterious entity known as Dorman to restore her life. And the price, we won't get into the price is simple. Defeat 16 enormous beings known as the Colossi scattered throughout the land. And instead of filling the world with traditional enemies, towns, and shops and dungeons, the game strips away the adventure down to Wonder and his horse, a sword, a bow, and these massive creatures waiting somewhere in the distance. And finding each Colossus is part of the experience. This is where platforming, puzzles, and things of that nature come into play. And the battle themselves is just one word: complete, epic, unforgettable. It's just the environments just feel like this one environmental puzzle that just happens to be alive with these colossals. It was a scale enormous on the PS2. The footage that you're seeing here is the remake, but the PS2, and just even with the remake, with the upscale, the graphics, the controls, this is a game that needs to be in everyone's collection. It's one of my favorites. I play it from time to time just to experience what this game is. It's just cinematic. It's what we call cinema. Shadow of the Colossus at number 18. Now, for number 17, remember when I said that there are better games in in particular franchises, but this one holds a special place in my heart. This one I still play to this day, and yes, it is my favorite out of all of them. Let's get into number 17. Number 17, totally going to box the Japanese title of it, Dragon Ball Z Indenaru Densetsu, and the translation is Dragon Ball Z: The Legend. And this came out for Sega Saturn and the PlayStation in 1996. And the reason why I chose this one and why this one's actually my favorite Dragon Ball Z game is because the sentimental value for it for me, because this was the first game that I got imported. So this is like my first import game, and I still love this game because it's such a unique take on the Dragon Ball Z franchise in terms of gaming. Battles involve teams up to three fighters, and you're using the 2D sprites and in this huge arena, and that gives the fights this kind of greatest sense of scale. And you fly around the battlefield, you're exchanging punches and kicks, you're firing key attacks, and you're recharging your energy, and you can substitute with your other chosen fighters throughout the battle. And that mechanic really separates it from almost every Dragon Ball Z game afterwards because of this thing called the power balance meter. And rather than hammering away at traditional life bar with normal attacks, you have to successfully do complete this kind of offense, which is just like this tug of war type of thing, where you fill up that meter in your favor, and then your character will unleash their attack. For example, if Vegeta, you're playing Vegeta, and he goes all the way blue during the Cell Saga, he'll release the Big Bang attack. And you have to do it multiple times in order to progress. And because you can switch characters and direct your attacks towards different members of opposing teams, the fight feels less conventional one-on-one matches and more like a miniature Dragon Ball battles unfolding across the screen. It's a fun, simple, addictive game. Are there better games out there? Yes, but are they my favorite? No. And I honestly think you should check this out because it attempts something that even many modern day Dragon Ball games do not try to do. It tried to recreate the feeling of watching several characters enter and leave a huge anime battle instead of simply placing two fighters on the opposite sides of a traditional arena. Yeah, it looks chaotic. Yes, the mechanics take some adjustment, but you know what? I love it to death and I play it every single year. Now let's go to number 16. Number 16, Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 1, PS3, Xbox 360, PC, Switch. I mean, it's constantly being re released. Telltale's The Walking Dead changed what I expect from a narrative game. Released episodically beginning in 2012, the first season follows Lee Everett as the zombie outbreak begins and eventually places him in the path of a young girl named Clementine. Gameplay revolves around exploration, conversation, environmental interactions, quick action sequences, and choices that often have to be made under pressure. Many conversations are timed, meaning refusing to answer can become an answer of its own, and the game constantly tracks how other characters react to Lee's decisions, creating the feeling that every conversation matters. And my God, does it ever? Of course, I will not have any spoilers just in case you're living under a rock and you never ever played this, or you were just recently born in the, like, say, 2020s. Mechanically, it's not a game about becoming an unstoppable zombie killer. Lee is surviving with ordinary people, and many of the most important decisions have nothing to do with killing the walkers. Who gets food? Who do you trust? Who do you defend during an argument? What are you willing to do when someone becomes a threat? Even though a larger narrative eventually has destination it needs to reach, the path feels personal. Your relationships with those characters. My God, how many of us who have played and beaten this game back in 2012 really just was so concerned? They were stressed about Clem. We were all stressed about this group. We had an attachment. This is one of the best storylines, stories in video game in my eyes. And if you haven't played it, you should. Go seek it out. Play it because Lee and Clementine are one of my favorite characters in all of gaming. This is one of my favorite stories in all of gaming. I think out of everybody on this list, besides number one, I think this one has truly the best story. Walking Dead, Telltale's The Walking Dead has it. Just go experience it. It's one of the reasons why it's my favorite game. It's just absolutely amazing. Let's go to number 15. Hey, I'm back again for number 15, which I'm added. This game is one of my favorites. And this one was such a tussle because there's two other games in this franchise that I really adore dearly. So this one came back to me on replay value. When it comes to this particular franchise, out of the three choices that I had, which one would I personally have to? I had to decide this by which one has to go, and this was literally tooth and nail, and it all was decided by replay value. If I had no choice, which one would I replay over and over and over again? So let's get in to number 15. Number 15, Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. This was so tough to decide. I had to do it based off, like I just said, on replayability. Which game will I personally replay over and over if I had no choice? If I had to get rid of the other two, and those other two were Sonic 1 for the Sega Genesis and Sonic 3 with Knuckles on top of it attached, which just gave you this whole new game. Not to mention Sonic 3 had Michael Jackson helping out with the music. Like, yes, it should have been here. I know. But Sonic 2, just for me, it's always been my favorite. And not to mention the introduction of Shadow. It's the 3D. It's just pure insanity. That first level with the "Follow me, set me free, trust me, we'll escape the city." That song, just the Child Garden alone, just how you evolve, and that's a game in itself. I mean, they had so many things going for it. Just the normal stages gave you another purpose because suddenly collecting those items mattered because you had to go and take care of your child. Shadow's introduction was great. His levels, the different characters, just pure Sega Dreamcast goodness. And if you never played Sonic Adventure 2, it's definitely has personality. It's polished, and sometimes, yeah, sometimes it has its moments of hokiness and campiness, and yeah, it might throw some people off, but there's just this time capsule feeling of that Sega Dreamcast era. The dark structure gives the campaign a full sense of scale with Shadow. Some gameplay styles are stronger than others, but when you're Sonic or Shadow and you're running or flying through the stages, and that music is blasting, man, I could not choose Sonic Adventure 2. I could not ignore it. So let's get into number 14. Number 14, X-Men Legends. And X-Men Legends gave me something I have always wanted from an X-Men game: control of the actual team instead of one hero at a time. And it was developed by Raven Software and was released in 2004 for your PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox. And the game lets you assemble a squad of four mutants, and you get to switch between them during missions. And its roster includes such characters: Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Jean, Rogue, Nightcrawler, Iceman, Gambit, Beast, Colossus, Psylocke, Jubilee, and Magma. And each character has their own distinct powers and abilities that can be upgraded as the team gains more experience. This is an action RPG if you haven't known this by now. And the team system is what gives the combat its identity. Wolverine can get directly into someone's face, or use Cyclops to fire some optic blasters. Me personally, I'm a Nightcrawler guy, so I love just teleporting around the room, and it helps actually to go to different places a lot more easier. But one thing I loved about this, and why this is still to this day, I feel like it's the most definitive X-Men gaming experience, is you just not only get to really use the X-Men for their mutant powers, but it has a solid story. Not to mention you get to explore the X Mansion. And can I also add that Patrick Stewart reprises his role as Professor X in this? Like, you don't get any better than that. If you've never played X-Men Legends, you really need to, because it understands the X-Men, and it understands the whole dynamic of team and what made the X-Men so special. Not to mention a very unique action RPG system with X-Men lore, instead of just treating the characters as interchangeable superheroes. Modern day superhero gaming can be spectacular, but this one is legend. Wait for it, dairy. Hands down, my favorite X-Men game, and definitely deserves to be on this list of all time. Now, let's go into number 13. Number 13, Madden NFL 2005. This is till this day my favorite football game of all time, my favorite Madden game of all time. I still play it, updating the damn roster. Thank you to the internet. And what I loved about this, not to mention that, was just the introduction of that hit stick. Just that defining addition where you use the right analog stick on defense and you can just attempt these enormous hard hitting tackles that really helped you create turnovers and creating additional risk if the tackle was missed. And EA built much of the year's marketing around defense, and even hell, even have Ray Lewis, the first thing we play the game is defense wins championships. This game was so addictive. Not, and the reason why for that is the franchise mode. Ask any Madden '05 fan, and everyone who's a Madden fan to this day, I guarantee you're gonna find one person who still plays Madden to this day that wants a return to the franchise mode like this, with this presentation. The addition of Tony Bruno's radio show discussing developments throughout your franchise help illustrate your season. Not to mention the newspapers and Tony Bruno, actually, even if when you had your created team and with your created players, he will mention them. News from New York. It was just so detailed, so much love went into this. Yes, 2K 2K5, NFL 2K5, ESPN NFL 2K5. Yes, I will admit, way more superior, better gameplay, better presentation. But for me, Madden '05 was my game. Still my game. Love it to this day. I just my favorite franchise mode. Just the fact that the ownership mode, just raising the prices, checking ticket sales, looking at the logistics on the business side. They offered so much stuff. And you look at the Madden games today, you're just going like, what the hell happened? You should definitely go back and play Madden '05 because it's a great sports game. It deserves to be remembered. I honestly still, in my heart of hearts, believe this is the greatest Madden game of all time. We could go back and forth, but I'm just saying, folks, for me, it's my opinion, it's my list, my favorite list. Madden '05 is number 13. Now let's go to number 12. Number 12 is the greatest Batman game ever made and my favorite Batman game ever made. Batman Arkham City for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. Hands down. It really doesn't need an introduction that much, but just for those who have never heard of this one, Batman Arkham City took the foundations of Arkham Asylum and just blew it out of the water. And instead of keeping Batman contained to this one institution, Rocksteady placed him within Arkham City, which is a massive section of Gotham that was transformed into a prison populated by criminals and some of Batman's most dangerous rogue galleries. And Batman can glide across rooftops, launch himself with his grapple gun, investigate using detective mode, take down enemies from the shadows, and engage larger groups through free flow combat system, which is just a revolutionary system that you'll see again later on. Little spoiler there. And the city is available for exploration with side missions, hidden challenges. It was just so much stuff. Not to mention the story was really, really good. And combat is one of the biggest reasons this game feels so good. Just the way Batman can chain punches, counters, stun, uses gadgets, aerial attacks. Not to mention, you got to be Catwoman in this as well. And her combos were just as good, just as brutal. And you should play Arkham City if you never have, because very few superhero games have understood their hero completely. And how can I talk about Arkham City without mentioning quickly the great talent to cast? Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy, and of course, Mark Hamill reprising his role as the Joker. The whole cast was just stellar. Of course, Tara Strong as Harley Quinn. Just Arkham City was absolutely amazing. I still play it till this day. Now let's go into number 11. Number 11, Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly, my favorite horror game of all time. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly recently has a remake, but the original is superior. The original is way better, and it has one of the greatest horror mechanics ever created. It forces you to stare directly at the thing that is terrifying you. And the original game follows twin sisters Mio and Mayu as they wander into this lost village, this abandoned settlement haunted by spirits that's connected to this horrible, horrific ritual. And your primary weapon against these ghosts is the camera obscura. And rather than firing bullets, you just take pictures of the ghosts, the spirits, and those stronger shots requiring you to keep dangerous ghosts in your view as you move closer to get the fatal frame shot. Outside those encounters, you explore dark houses, there's those narrow corridors, forests, ritual locations, and not to mention, this game for me captures not only the spirit of Asian horror, but to me, this is the definitive Asian horror, Japanese horror experience. This game will scare the hell out of you. Now, we have a lot of games that have jump scares and things of that nature these days, and a lot of us are truthfully desensitized to that. But this game, I guarantee you, the original still brings it, from the sound quality to the scares that come out of nowhere. Like, these ghosts come out of nowhere, guys. Like, you can open up a door, whoop, there's a ghost. Turn around, you hear something creeping. Put it in first person mode, use the camera mount. It's a terrifying game. And you should play the original because it understands that horror becomes much more effective when tragedy is involved. Mio and Mayu are not wandering through this collection of haunted houses. The village has history. The story, every discovery adds another piece to something deeply sad. And the ghosts are part of that history rather than just some simple monsters for you to combat. And that result in the game that is frightening. Just enough said. Go play Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly, the original. I guarantee you it's going to scare the crap out of you. And this is my favorite horror game, Japanese horror game of all time. And it's one of my favorite games of all time. I can pick this up today and still play it. Let's go into our top 10. Number 10, Kingdom Hearts 2. The Kingdom Hearts franchise is the reason why I got a PS2 back in the days. When I saw that commercial, simple and clean, with Donald, Goofy, and Sora, and just hearing Utada's theme song, I knew I had to get this game. And plus, like many of us, Utada was the gateway to J-pop for me, and she was the gateway to freaking Kingdom Hearts as well. And Kingdom Hearts 2 takes the action RPG foundation of the first game and makes almost everything faster. Sora's movements is more fluid. Combos become more spectacular. Magic is integrated naturally into the combat. You had reaction commands that allow attacks and defense actions during particular enemy encounters. They had the drive system that allowed Sora to transform forms using Donald and Goofy. For my anime DBZ fans out there, think of this as Sora's version of Fusion. I mean, he was just a complete powerhouse. The story was great. The stakes were higher. The gameplay, the music by Yoko. I mean, everything just fell into place. This is the definitive Kingdom Hearts experience. And you should play KH2 because it is the point where the impossible of Disney and Square Enix crossover feel completely confident in itself. One minute you can be exploring a Disney world with Donald and Goofy, and then later you are confronting Organization 13, which were complete badasses, and not to mention the super boss battles. Man, the hours and hours on trying to defeat Sephiroth will be in my mind for a very long time. Kingdom Hearts 2, the greatest of all the Kingdom Hearts, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. Like I can play this till this day. Now let's go to number 9. Number 9, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes for the PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, and your arcades out there. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is my all-time favorite fighting game. I still have game days with my boys where they come over and we play this thing offline, no online with us. We have to be in the same room in order to play this game because it's that personal when it comes to us. This game is war. Like I have my squad, I use Cable, Cyclops, and Iron Man, and I just do that triple. I just have them all shooting at once, making sure I get my hits. And yes, everybody has their own strategy. And that's what's so great about this game. Hyper combos, delayed hyper combos, team hyper combos to create absolute chaos. And at a casual level, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is fun because almost every match can become spectacular. Spider-Man, Wolverine, Storm, Chung-Li, Ryu, Mega Man, Jill Valentine, Morgan. I mean, the list goes on in dozens and dozens of other characters, but it's very accessible. So you don't have to be a pro to pick this up and have fun. This game is outrageous. This game is colorful. This game is fast paced. Hell, sometimes it can become overwhelming with how fast paced this is, but that ability satisfies both casual players and people who spend years mastering it. And if you haven't tried this out, definitely check this one out. It has just such bright presentation, this unusual jazz influenced soundtrack, which I still love to this day. A huge roster, just this huge roster, just the speed, and even later Marvel vs. Capcom games feel different, but this one is the definitive Marvel vs. Capcom. Hell, Capcom fighting game crossover experience in my eyes. I can pick this up any day of the week. And to my boys who are watching this, the next game day, we will go and continue the war. Now let's go to number 8. Number 8, WWE Day of Reckoning 2. Me not having a wrestling game on here, if you know me, you would have literally called foul. And me not having Day of Reckoning 2 on here would have been foul. Yes, I know my friends watching this are shocked that this is not in the top 5, but once you see the list, you'll understand why. Day of Reckoning 2 for me is it's for me it's so important because one, it takes kind of the Aki engine type of style and expanded on it with this new submission hold gameplay that allowed you to have rest holds, which still hasn't been done till this day, by the way. And it implemented a stamina system that is kind of bastardized now with 2K games and wrestling games that came after this, but the pacing made this feel like a real wrestling match from reversals, grapples, submissions, the momentum shift to be able to shift the momentum. Not to mention just the meter too was like you could not just pick up the Big Show and slam him. You had to button mash and hope to God you had the strength to slam a giant. Everything was meticulous here. Lighting, entrances, creative wrestlers were absolutely amazing in this game. And just look at the graphics, guys. It still holds up to this day. And most importantly, shameless plug, because I was gonna do it one video. This was the true nucleus for what we have today when it comes to the UWL. All these creative wrestlers, a lot of, I would say the majority of creative wrestlers that you see here in the UWL on our other channel come from Day of Reckoning 2. You should play DR2 if you get a chance because wrestling games sometimes become so concerned with recreating television performances and production that they forget about the damn match. And this game here truly emphasizes what great wrestling is. This is the Bret Hart of wrestling games, meaning greatest of all time. I stand by this. Day of Reckoning 2, my favorite wrestling game of all time. Definitely my favorite top 10 video games of all time. I still play DRR2 till this day. Now let's go to number 7. Number 7, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This completely changed the game when it came to Zelda games. There will never be anyone else like it. And I think a lot of us are now accustomed to this style of Zelda. And Nintendo moved away from the heavily directed structure of those previous Zelda adventures, which are great. I love Ocarina of Time. I think it's a classic. I love Wind Waker. Twilight Princess is a personal favorite of mine, but Breath of the Wild for me is the pinnacle of Zelda games, and it created this enormous world where exploration itself becomes the central mechanic. Link can climb almost any suitable surface, glide from high locations, cook meals, fight enemies using various weapons, picking up something and just smashing or enemy with it. One of my favorite parts also was discovering the shrines that was scattered through Hyrule, just going through these different locations and just discovering the secrets of Hyrule and competing them and completing them gives Link rewards with spirit orbs that can eventually be exchanged to increase his hearts or stamina. Yes, the stamina system as well in here just gave this game a little bit more of a realistic take. Just beautiful graphics, just strong presentation, voice acting, music, orchestrated. Just a phenomenal game here at number 7. Now let's go into number 6. Number 6, Marvel's Spider-Man. And wow. Originally, Spider-Man 2 for the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox was going to be on this list in this particular slot. But Marvel's Spider-Man just completely dwarfs it. And I play this one more, and it's definitely my favorite Spider-Man game. Not just because of the original story, but just what they were able to do with the character. And Insomniac understood the homework. They understood the assignment. They understood that what makes Spider-Man is not just the swinging. It's not the fact that Peter Parker has problems. It's just that neighborhood friendly Spider-Man that we can really just sink our teeth into. Peter can swing between buildings, run along walls, but they understood the assignment. Now, when it comes to the gameplay and the combat, remember I alluded to free flow coming back? Free flow combat that you see the influence of Arkham series is implemented in this with a Spider-Man flair. The mobility, the ability to dodge gadgets and aerial attacks, environmental objects, using them to improvise. You can launch enemies into the air. I mean, the system clearly takes inspiration from other action games, but put it through a Spider-Man lens. And if you never touched this game, if you never played it, this is the definitive Spider-Man game. This is the definitive representation of Peter Parker in video games. This is an experience, folks. It's an experience that I do yearly now. I played this particular game every single year. I beat it every single year, and I can't get enough of it. I'm still excited for what's going to happen in the future of this franchise. Was a little disappointed with Marvel Spider-Man 2. Love the Miles Morales game. I love Marvel Spider-Man. Hands down, the best superhero game of all time to me is Marvel Spider-Man. Now let's get into the top 5, but before we do, here's some honorable mentions. Now it's time for some honorable mentions. And my first honorable mention goes to Pokemon Stadium because this was something that a lot of us fans wanted to see who were playing with Pokemon on the Game Boy. And I didn't have a Game Boy, but I had friends who were kind enough once they were done and they were tired of it. I got to play it, capture my own Pokemon. But when Stadium came out, boy, the battles were truly epic to finally see fully animated 151 original Pokemon. I'm talking Gen 1, folks. That's the type of trainer I am. Gen 1. My Pikachus, my Charizards, my Squirtles. That's my squad. That's what I do. Even ask anyone who knows me. Every time a new Pokemon game comes out, they already know he's not going to get these new ones. If they have Gen 1, I'm going to get the Gen 1 and I'm training them. Gen 1 and 2. But just to have the red, the blue, and the yellow games, and to be able to transfer them with the transfer pack, sitting across the couch or chairs with your friends, and you guys are just battling out for hours and hours and hours. Man, Pokemon Stadium, one of my favorites. Next up, Streets of Rage 2, and this is one of the reasons why I love beat 'em up so much, home console beat 'em up so much. Streets of Rage 2 took the original and made it better. It took that core gameplay elements and just made it better. Axel, Blaze, and now we have new characters, Skate Hunter and Max Thunder expand the lineup. And each character had a different combination, speed, strength. Of course, I'm Team Skate all the way. I just thought Skate was always cool, the way his combos were, and he's on freaking skates. And the satisfying rhythm of the combat, the soundtrack was absolutely amazing. I just had to give Streets of Rage a mention. Streets of Rage 2, it's such a classic game. And another shout out I have to go with, of course, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. And this is to me the best GTA game still to this day. If they ever remake this like properly with the gameplay style of 5 and soon to be 6, I am all for it. The tale of CJ and Los Santos, CJ, Sweet, Kendall, Big Smoke, Ryder, like this for me felt like an just an interactive experience of the West Coast 90s gangster type of era. And I just love what they did with this. Some missions are a complete pain in the ass, but what they were able to capture that and just give it that West Coast flavor and feel will never be duplicated, can never be replicated, no matter how hard they try. GTA San Andreas, hands down, just absolutely amazing. Now, I have to give a shout out also to NBA 2K and 2. This one, it's like how Madden is. This one truthfully is my favorite 2K. And it's mainly because it holds a special place in my heart. I'm a big Dreamcast guy, so this one became the massive franchise. Was the reason why it's the massive franchise it is today. And what I remember about 2K2 is so fun is the way the basketball felt. It offered the simulation approach that made the early 2K games stand out, but it remained responsible and responsive enough that sitting down and playing a game did not feel like you were doing homework. Passing, shooting, defending, calling plays, and controlling individual plays gave you the tools to actually play basketball rather than simply race from one end of the court to the other. And 2K2 also expanded its street basketball elements with outdoor courts, giving you something different. And not to mention, it was just a really great Dreamcast basketball game at the time, guys. It was so, so great. And now, finally, for my last mention, because I did say I was going to do five, Robotech Battle Cry. And I know this one kind of takes people back, like, what the hell? But this puts you in the control of Jack Archer, an original character created for this game that basically goes through the Macross saga of Robotech. If you don't know, I'm a huge anime guy, and Robotech is one of my favorite animes of all time. So for me, this is like the definitive Robotech experience, Macross experience because a lot of games I played a lot of imports from the Macross VFX games and a whole bunch of them, and they didn't really capture the feel of that Veritech of the fighter, the Guardian mode, the Battleoid mode. They didn't really capture that while still being within the universe and having their actors return, the English dub actors, Harmony Gold actors return was just absolutely amazing. Robotech Battlecry, I just had to mention it, but it wasn't good enough for me to put on the list, but good enough for me to give it an honorable mention. Now, let's continue the list with number five. Number five, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. This game gave me the opportunity to enter the Star Wars universe without simply reenacting one of the movies. This was developed by BioWare and it was originally released for the Xbox in 2003. before becoming onto the PC later that year. And Knights of the Old Republic is a full blown role playing game built around character creation, stats, equipment, conversation, party members, quests, force powers, and of course, moral decisions. And this is just the definitive Star Wars experience. The combat plays out in real time, but is based on underlying RPG calculations and cute actions, allowing you to really issue commands. So it has a little turn based, but also some tactical strategy because you can also control your partners as well. But the real strength of this that gives you the identity is what we all love is our being able to kind of shape your own destiny between the light side and the dark side, the Jedi or the Sith. Which one are you going to become? And this is where the game just excels in that story, where you're able to just hang around with Bastila and Karf and just everything about this game is damn near perfection and just a love letter to the Star Wars universe. If you've never played this, you need to go and play this game. It is a all-time classic. It is the greatest Star Wars game to me. It is the Star Wars game that I would open up in a heartbeat. If no other Star Wars game ever existed, if everything had to go and I had to keep one Star Wars game, it's going to be this one. Hands down, the best. One of the best RPGs as well. I love this freaking game. And it's just actually hilarious to the NPC's reaction when you're on the dark side. Like, how, if you don't play the dark side once, I don't know what to tell you. It's just pure comedy. Let's go to number four. Number four, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. My quarters, my quarters, my quarters, my quarters. This is the definitive beat 'em up game for me, the definitive arcade game for me. So many memories. So I mean, to this day, one of my closest friends still texts me about the time I accidentally took his pizza. And for the record, folks, if you are the best player with the most points and your team is lacking, you deserve that pizza. Their pizza that was going to be used for them should be used for you because you're the one with the most points. You're the one putting in the work. And I stand by it. I'm making no apologies for it. But this game here, this game here is just phenomenal. Not only did it capture the spirit of the cartoon and the fact that you can use Leo, Donnie, Mikey, and Raph, what makes this magical is the cooperation. Four people could crowd around one cabinet, one machine, and you choose your favorite turtle depending if they allow you to. Sometimes it's just first come, first serve. And just tearing through waves of foot soldiers and just the environments, including just interactive objects that can help damage enemies. The game constantly throws recognizable characters at you. Bebop and Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman, Krang, Shredder. I mean, the presentation alone, the graphics still hold up till this day. Like, there's no reason this doesn't even need a remaster. It's just like, yo, just re-release it like they did with the collection. They didn't even have to update the graphics. It's already good. If you've never played it, go get the collection, by the way. You really need to go get the Turtle Collection because it's a classic. And just enjoy what we had back in the 90s, man. The late 80s and early 90s. Pure nostalgia joy with some excellent gameplay, challenging gameplay, brutal, punishing, but yet satisfying when you finally kick Shredhead's ass. It's my favorite beat 'em up. It's my favorite Turtles game. It's my favorite arcade game. And it would have literally been number one if it wasn't for the next three games. Let's go into number three. Number three, Resident Evil remake for the GameCube. When we talk about remakes, yes, we have seen plenty of remakes now, especially from Capcom. And it seems like remakes now is the new trend, like how Hollywood had this whole 3D phase going on. This is like the remake phase for video game industry. But in 2002 GameCube remake of Resident Evil is still to me the best remake ever made, and it's just one of my favorite examples how a remake can be done correctly. Capcom did not simply recreate the original with prettier graphics. The Spencer Mansion was redesigned and expanded. Puzzles were changed, environments were added, and new threats were introduced, like Lisa Trevor. While the basic survival horror structure was still intact, you explore the mansion as Chris or Jill, and you manage your inventory, the space, not to mention the greatest addition to this and most terrifying addition, the damn Crimson Head system. Killing a zombie did not just necessarily work anymore. And sometimes they will rise up and they're going all 28 days later on you, chasing you this time, running after you. And unless certain corpses are destroyed properly, either with a shot to the head that blows off or you burn it, they were coming back as Crimson Heads. Not to mention the hunters themselves were also more terrifying in this one. A zombie on the floor could become a future problem later on. And not to just to mention story wise, it was great. Voice acting, everything about this was just damn near flawless. If you love the Resident Evil 2 remake, yes, I was going to give that as an honorable mention. The 3, 4, all the remakes that Capcom has done in terms of Resident Evil, and now we're going to have Code Veronica coming soon. I mean, they've just been knocking it out of the park. But when we talk Resident Evil games, when we're talking about remakes, this is still the gold standard here. And honestly, I still think this is the most scariest one. I love 2, love 3, love 4, love what they're doing with these remakes now. But as far as survival horror goes, as far as sense of dread goes, as far as feeling like I'm afraid to turn the corner, Resident Evil Remake, hands down, is the best Resident Evil and just best survival horror experience besides Fatal Frame 2. Now let's get in to number 2. Number 2, Super Mario World. And this was so tough because I was wrestling between Super Mario World and Super Mario 3 or the original Mario game. And the only reason, I kid you not, the only reason why Super Mario 3 is not here is because I am such a huge fan of Yoshi and just the memories. I have more memories and more fun and enjoyment playing Super Mario World than I did 3. I remember vividly going to my uncle's house with my cousins, and just visiting my cousins and playing upstairs Super Mario World and just being immersed with this Super Nintendo because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had Sega Genesis. So we used to go to either over there or I used to go to my boy Ivan's house who had it, and I would spend hours playing this game and just the genius of how much depth Nintendo hides underneath the controls. Anyone could just pick this up and just understand the mechanics. Just even if you are a younger player, you can just follow the simple path to Bowser and have a wonderful time. But for someone who's determined to uncover everything, you can search for hidden keys, secret exits, ghost house solutions, star road entrances, switch palaces, and just alternate paths completely changed how the map connected. Not to mention you had different type of power-ups in here. Mario's cape feather, and we have of course the introduction to Yoshi. Yoshi can aid you by eating enemies and spinning them back out into fireballs. I mean, this game was so freaking good. It's just absolutely amazing. I can pick this up any day of the week and still play it like it's new. And if you've never played Super Mario World, go go get your Switch right now. Even if you haven't, yeah, go get your Switch right now. Download the NES and play the damn game. All right, the game is a classic. The graphics remain charming. The soundtrack is recognizable. The controls are responsive. The stage constantly introduces ideas without stopping to explain everything through tutorials. It's just such a classic mecca of Mario. Very, very, 3 is better, don't get me wrong, I'm saying it on record. 3 is better, but for me, my memories, my nostalgia, If I'm gonna pick up a Super Mario game, if I had a choice, it will always be Super Mario World. It's my favorite Mario game, and it was so close to being number one, but number one just has too much history with me, and we are about to talk about it right now. So let's get into number one. And my number one favorite game of all time. If you know me, you already know this was going to be it. Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1. There was never, ever really any other choice for me for number one. The original Final Fantasy VII combines turn-based battles through an ATB active time battle system with exploration, the party building, the equipment, the summons, the limit breaks, the mini games, optional characters like Vincent and Yuffie, just hidden bosses, the material system, just to able to equip and to provide magic, the ability to steal, and just man, Square Enix hit it out of the park, and not to mention to be the first 3D Final Fantasy game and just the experimentation. And when I played this back in 1997, I had no idea what the hell I was doing, to be honest with you. This is one of the first RPGs that I really, truly, really played and really understood the mechanics and just was so immersed with the story. Just the adventure of Cloud joining Avalanche, going against his mission against Shinra and Midgard, and just the whole storyline of the ancients, not to mention the most heartbreaking death scene. That's one of the most heartbreaking death scenes in video game history with Aerith. Just man, I I play this game. I kid you not. I'm currently still to this day trying to get through Rebirth. It is a chore. I I really am trying to find the good in the remakes right now. I can't. My friends will tell you, I've probably, kid you not, probably beat this game at least 70 times by now. Or I will say at least over 100 times by now. I play this game yearly. I have not fulfilled my year quota yet. I'm probably going to get started in October and take the entire October to play the game again, relive the magic. I play it every year. It's a must for me. It's literally on my to-do list every year once January 1st hits. I have to beat the original Final Fantasy VII. Play this game every year. And every year it's still the same wonder, the music. It's like I never left 97. This is absolutely my favorite video game of all time. Final Fantasy VII. I love everything about this franchise. Not everything, but I love enough about this franchise, Final Fantasy VII. I love Avid Children. I love Crisis Core. I am hoping to God that the next game, Revelations, ties up the whole Genesis arc, or for the love of God, sh- reveal something that has to be connected to Avid Children or something. Something has to be done with that damn remake series. But this has been long enough, friends. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite video game. Well, that's going to wrap up Imaginative Visions. This is the list, also Gaming Central. What My question for you is, what is your top three favorite video games of all time? Not what you think is the greatest game of all time. Your favorite three games of all time. You saw my 20. So I want to hear from you. I want to know what your three is. So put your list on below and I will give it a comment. Thank you, everybody. And if you like what we do here, hopefully I earned your subscription. So please hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Stay tuned for all things here at imaginativisions.com.